Hey you guys, it's Lauren of Lauren's Honest Reviews, where I review popular books and let you know if they're actually worth your time. And today's gonna be a fun one because we're gonna be talking about all of Emily Henry and Carley Fortune's books, the two queens of rom-coms, and we're gonna rank these books. This is gonna be fun. I apologize at the beginning of this video if I sound like a negative Nancy because we're gonna start with my least favorite of the bunch and we'll end with my favorite of the bunch. But I promise you, you will come away with some really great book recommendations today. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So top 10 on the list, my least favorite of the bunch has to go to, unfortunately, Emily Henry's Beachread. I know this is a popular one, but this just did not do it for me. Honestly, I think the title sets it up for so many great expectations that it just did not live up to. Like when I pick up a beach read, I'm expecting like a lighthearted romance with some fun, flirty banter, which this definitely has, but I think the story of these two characters, Gus and January, just kind of flopped for me in the end. And also the setting, it's titled Beach Read and it was not at a beach. Did anybody else feel that way? I mean, when I hear about a beach, I need salt water. A lake is just not the same to me. So the setting just wasn't there for me. It was a cute story. It's the story of Gus and January. They both stay at these beach houses, quote unquote, and they're neighboring beach houses, and they both discover that they're both authors, but they're polar opposite authors in what they write, and they're both in kind of a writing slump, so they kind of commiserate their issues together. They both, they'll see each other at the end of the night, at the end of a long writing day, and they do have that kind of tension throughout the book because they're running into each other throughout the whole book, but the ending was kind of a letdown for me. Without giving any spoilers, like there's this end scene where Gus almost grapples with his decision in the end. And if I'm reading about a romantic relationship, I don't want to hear about a partner in that relationship second guessing things, at least in the end of the book. Like maybe a major conflict in the middle of the book, okay, but this one scene just really ruined things for me about their relationship. And I will say the ending, it does have a good ending. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I just did not feel the whole romantic vibes between Gus and January, unfortunately. This was a big letdown for me. So I gave this 3 stars. She just has too many other books that are top tier for me, so this I would skip. And then a second book on the list, unfortunately it's another Henry that is up there on the list for me. Number 9 is Happy Place. This was on the bottom for me, I think because of the immaturity of this book. I'm not above a YA romance by any means, but even for college kids, this felt immature and cringy and cheesy. The story of Harriet and Wynn's relationship, I actually liked. I liked the romantic tension that was there. I was rooting for them the entire time, but the background characters just really irked me. But all their friendships almost felt fake, and even the way they interacted was cheesy, like how they talked about falling asleep while holding hands, how they talked about playing games of hide and seek, like just very odd details. And yeah, I just wasn't into the whole plot of the story. It just felt weird and off and strange. The fact that Harriet and Wynn aren't together anymore, but they didn't tell their friends why they're not together, or the fact that they're even together at all is weird, but they talk about being such close friends. It was just a strange plot, but I don't want to go into too much of it because I did talk about this in a previous video. But overall, I just did not enjoy this. It just was not for me. I gave this a 3-star. I was about to say maybe it's worth a read, but honestly, for me, it wasn't. If you're into more like mature romances, I don't think you would like this. All right, so number 8 on my ranking is The Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune. This is my least favorite from her. And again, going along with that same immaturity theme, I think that's why this just was not for me. So this is a story of Lucy, also known as B, and Bridget, who go on a summer trip to PEI, or Prince Edward Island, which, by the way, I need to go there now. The way Carley Fortune sets the scene in this book is absolutely breathtaking. I think that was the most enthralling part about this book. But unfortunately, the romance in this book, I was not into, and I think this is a me thing. So if you're not into the best friend's brother trope, I don't think you would like this. I don't know why, but I just get so skeeved by this trope. I think it's because, so my friends' brothers I knew since they were young. Like some of my best friends I've been best friends with since we were kids. So they are like family to me. So anytime I read a story about a best friend's brother, I just can't do it. So it might be a me thing. I know a lot of people like this by her, but I just did not feel the romance vibes between the two of these characters. The beginning definitely started off spicy, but towards the end, it just kind of fell flat for me. This, if anything, was more of a story of friendship and family relationships. I love the story of Lucy and her aunt. What was her aunt's name? Aunt Stacy, I think. The story of how her Aunt Stacy inspired her love for floral design, and the story of her friendship with her friend Bridget. I think that the friendship aspect of this book was so beautiful. Like I really did enjoy that part of this book. But spice scenes in this book, which again aren't as spicy as I feel like Emily Henry has a little bit more spice to her books. But even the soft spice scenes were just a little cringy for me. The more term, and you'll know if you've read this book, if you know, you know, but every time Lucy said more, I got the ick. I'm sorry. This book was just not my favorite book by her. Again, the friendship theme is really nice in here. It's really heartwarming, but everything else I just was not into. Oh, and I gave this a 3-star on Goodreads. All right, next we're at number 7. We have Carley Fortune's One Golden Summer. This is bottom on my list from Carley Fortune also. I think it was just honestly because of the lead up. Every summer after, spoiler here, this was just so good that I think this was just a letdown for me. So this is the story of Alice. She travels to, where's this lake that they go to? Oh, back to Barry's Bay. How can I forget? Oh my God. But she goes to Barry's Bay with her nan, her grandmother, who I loved, by the way. She was my favorite character in this story. She travels back to this lake house. The lake house is owned by a friend of her grandmother's. It has some good memories there. And of course, along with those good memories come Charlie Florrick, who is also in Every Summer After, which, by the way, you can read these as standalone books, but there are common characters among the two of these. And Charlie is definitely an intriguing character in Every Summer After. So this definitely left you wanting to know more about Charlie. So I was intrigued by this, I really was. But Charlie in this book, while he has some growth, he is still the most cocky person ever. And for me, that is a turnoff. Any guy that's just way too cocky, I don't care how good looking you are, that is a big turnoff for me. And yes, in a way it is charming. Like when Alice, one of her first run-ins with Charlie, she looks at his face and she's like, oh my gosh, remarkable. And he's like, yeah, like you're talking about my face? I know it's remarkable. Like just the way he says things is just, it's kind of funny, but again, it's not, I don't know, to me, it was way too cocky. And yes, while Charlie did have some growth in this, there was no sense of humbleness from him whatsoever still. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of that egomaniac personality. And also too, the major conflict in this book doesn't happen until the very end. And I felt like Carley could have made this conflict a big part of the story and it could have made it that much more interesting. But I felt like there was a slow burn to this book, but nothing really happened. And I honestly, most of the book, I was bored. Every time Charlie came into a scene, it was intriguing. I will say there's something about his personality, even though he has that cockiness to him, there's something about him. But yeah, it was that ego for me. He didn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I know. I could picture his face. I could just see, like, he reminded me of like a young Brad Pitt. That's what I was picturing in this story. But I don't know. I was let down by the plot of this. I wanted more from this. I did love the relationship between Nan and Alice. I thought their relationship was so like tender and heartwarming, and I loved her part in this book. And that is what I think made this book special. Just like how The Summer Will Be Different. The background characters were so good in both of these books, but the main romantic relationship, I think I just couldn't get into. And that's why these books by Carley Fortune were both letdowns for me. And I gave this a 3.5 on Goodreads. I think I rated this higher than The Summer Will Be Different because there was a little bit more intrigue there with Charlie. Every time he came into a scene, yes, he annoyed the heck out of me, but there was something about him, and I did just want to keep on reading for that aspect, but I still wanted more from this book. So yeah, 3.5. Okay, Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is a big Emily Henry like fandom book. I know everybody likes this, and I think there is something about like keeping this on your bookshelf with the term book lovers on here. I think it is, there is something about like owning this book if you're like a bookish person. So I get it, but another book that did not live up to the hype for me. When I think back to this book, I almost don't have much of a memory of it. So that tells me a lot about whether or not I liked a book. So yeah, here I am reading what this book was about because I kind of forget. Okay, Nora is a literary agent and Charlie is a like no frills, no fuss, blunt, tell it like it is editor. Their vibe is a little off at the beginning of the story and there's a little conflict at the beginning, but to me, like honestly, I felt like they could have made it more, or Emily Henry could have made it more of a bigger conflict than it actually was. So I didn't really feel that intense enemies aspect at the beginning of this book. Every time when Nora and Charlie ran into each other, there was something about that like pull between the two of them that had you like pulled into this book and it really made you want to keep reading. So I think that's why everybody loved this. You could really feel that like slow burn, that you really did feel the love between these two characters from the start. And the ending is so good. Oh my gosh, that is one thing about this book. The ending will stick with you. Also the setting between Sunshine Falls, which is actually like the main setting between, was it a book they were both writing? Yeah, I can't remember. Sunshine Falls, I think they were both kind of perplexed as to why each one of them were there. So that made it fun too. And the whole like charming, cozy book town was fun. And the other setting in this book was New York City, which the way Emily Henry sets the scene in New York City is so awesome in this book. You really feel the culture. It makes you want to travel back to New York in the worst way. The food, the clothing, the fashion, everything about New York, she really just pulls you into the scenes in this book. Again, the ending was amazing. Love the ending. But the one thing I will say, the sister relationship felt very cringy, immature, all the cringy words. I could not tell you how much it irked me every time they called each other sissy in this book. Something about that. Is it me? I don't know. Every time, yeah, the word sissy bothered me. And then also, like even my young girls, I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, like they don't even talk like that. So the whole sissy thing threw me off. And then the health scare. Is this a spoiler? I'm trying to think. Let's just say this is a soft spoiler. I'll put it in the bottom of the screen that this is a spoiler, but it doesn't really give anything about the main plot away. I also want to hear from you guys. Leave a comment at the bottom. Do you want to hear reviews with spoilers or without? Because I know after I'm finished reading a book, I do like to go back and like hear other people's opinions on books, and I want to hear their thoughts and opinions on how the book ended. So let me know what you think about that. But yeah, this is kind of just a soft spoiler about the plot. So, okay, oncoming soft spoiler here. So her sister Libby is pregnant in this story, and Libby has a health scare. And the health scare is the fact that she has anemia during pregnancy. And does she pass out or almost pass out? I think she does pass out. So yes, initially it is scary, but there's this whole built-up of this secret that the two of them have together. And the secret is that she has suffered with anemia in her pregnancy and past pregnancies. And I think now this may be the fact that I'm jaded as a healthcare provider. I'm a nurse that works in an ICU. So when I hear anemia blown out of proportion like this, it just threw me off. I'm like, okay, anemia is not that big of a deal. I had anemia with 3 of my pregnancies. I took an iron pill. It wasn't that serious. There's so many other big health scares one can have during a pregnancy. And the fact that she used anemia just bugged me. It was not a big deal at all. I'm thinking to myself, like Emily Henry could have used such a bigger life-changing event to show that the sister relationship was so meaningful. Like I get what she was trying to do with this whole scene, but I thought it was stupid. I did. I'm just gonna put it out there. But again, the ending of this book I really loved. I love that her name, the sister's name in this book was Libby. I don't know if she did that intentional, but I thought that was so cool, being that this book is titled Book Lovers and her sister's name's Libby. I thought that was really clever. So a fun read, but a couple parts of the plot that irked me, but this is higher up on my Emily Henry reads, but still kind of midway through. We're getting there. We're getting towards my favorite. And I gave this a 3.5 on Goodreads. All right, so now we're getting to more of my favorite books by these two authors. So Meet Me at the Lake by Carley Fortune. I love this. I thought this was really good, and I'll put it out there right away. I'll tell you my rating. I gave this a 4-star. I really enjoyed the plot to this. The romance, maybe not as much as the actual plot and what happened in this story. So this is the story of Fern, who unexpectedly inherits her family's lakeside resort, and she doesn't really have an interest in running this resort. She's kind of bummed about having to spend time at the Brookbanks Resort. She really loves staying in the city. Her dream is to open up a coffee shop that has a whole vintage vibe theme. Her heart is in the city. So when she inherits this resort, she's kind of down and out on herself. She's not feeling her best, but when Will comes into her life, he almost has that heroine aspect to him. He kind of saves the day in a sense, and they of course develop a romantic relationship, and the romantic vibes are definitely there. But I think what I loved about this story is the whole plot behind this, even the business aspect of how she learns how to run this resort, the whole almost Dirty Dancing kind of theme here. If you saw the movie Dirty Dancing, I know it was one of my favorite movies as even a kid, and I know it has more adult themes in it, but I just love that movie. I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade when I really fell in love with that movie, but this had some of those mentions in here. But I just love that whole like community aspect vibe in this resort town almost. All the guests knew each other. They all had their own little quirks, just like the Dirty Dancing movie. So I love that about this book. I thought this was a really good time. The romantic relationship, I don't know, there's something about Will and Fern that didn't exactly pull me in. I almost felt like this book was more about self-discovery with Fern and her career and her relationship with her mother. There's all these revelations that she finds out about her mom, and that part of the story is so heartwarming and heartfelt. And I don't know, there's just a lot more layers to this than the romantic relationship. So I would say read this if you want more of a plot-driven story from Carley Fortune. I really enjoyed this book. 4 stars. All right, we're getting there, guys. Funny story. I love this book by Emily Henry. There's definitely a letdown for me in this, but for the most part, I feel like I really enjoyed the ride when I was reading this book. So this is the story of Daphne and Miles. They almost have this like trauma bond relationship. They're both going through a breakup and they end up living together, and the way they bond is so fun and flirty. There's lots of tension there. All of, like the flirty banter is there, everything you want in a rom-com. I could not get enough of this story. I read this, I think, in almost like a day and a half. I could not get enough. My issue with this book, the whole buildup was about this wedding that was gonna happen, and there's a little bit of a letdown in the end with that. If you know, you know. But otherwise, like, I really felt like I loved the story. The ending was there. The relationship was, I think, one of the most relatable relationships in all these stories. I loved the two of them together. I loved how Miles was that, like, unassumingly handsome, that scruffy guy that didn't necessarily dress the best. He's a bartender. He doesn't have this, like, extravagant job, but there was just something about him. Now, I will say there was one thing about Miles that irked me, not necessarily about him as a character, but the fact that Emily Henry named him Miles was throwing me off. Like, I was picturing this, there's also mentions of him being a casual herbal smoker, if you will, and I just not picturing, when I think of a cute scruffy guy, I don't think of the name Miles. Like, I think of like a highbrow lawyer with the name Miles. So the name was throwing me off a little bit. Like, I would have liked his name to be like Mike or Joe or like just some everyday name. So the Miles name threw me off a little bit, but I love these two characters together. I love their whole relationship. This was such a fun book. One of my favorites from Emily Henry for sure. I think, did I give this a 4.5 stars? Because now that I'm yes, I did. Okay, I was gonna say, if I gave this a 4, it deserves an extra half a star. But yeah, one of my favorite Emily Henrys. Love this so much. Oh, and by the way, I don't have it because I read this on Libby. I think you can still get it on Libby as an available now option. So check your Libby app. All right, guys, we're getting close. So number 3 on this ranking is Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation. I could not get enough of Alex and Poppy's relationship in this. The two of them together, something about them. I think it was honestly Alex's like innocence and his anxious personality. He is referred to as stoic a lot in this book, and that is like him to a T. It's just, but he's funny at the same time. Like, he's kind of awkward and shy, and Poppy's this like extroverted, bubbly personality. So it's that opposites attract romance that I love so much. And I just loved how unassumingly just charming Alex is in this book. He is so humble in so many ways, which I loved. He's just so lovable in this story. I love how Alex just brings so much, or I love how Poppy brings so much out of Alex in this book as well. So good. I love their adventures together. So essentially this is the story of Poppy and Alex that travel together every summer. They go on these big extravagant vacations, but it never led up to a romantic relationship. But of course, no spoilers here. It's a romantic book. Obviously, it ends up getting there, and the tension is there throughout the whole book. The lead up is there. There's this talk about a conflict throughout the story. And I will say, I did want a little bit more out of that. When they get to Croatia, I don't know, let me know what you guys think about Croatia, but maybe I wanted a little bit more there, but I still love this. This book was so satisfying. I couldn't put this down. So weirdly suspenseful for a romantic book, but it was just that. Like, I did not want to put it down. I did give this a 4.5 star just for that itty bitty letdown, but otherwise, I just loved Alex and Poppy's relationship so much. This is worth the read. Such a good book. One of my favorites from Emily Henry. Oh my gosh, my favorite from Carley Fortune by far. This is the summer read. If you're gonna read one book this summer that you haven't read so far, read Every Summer After. This was such an amazing romance. Loved every part of this book. This was fantastic. I just loved Sam and Percy's relationship. Again, with the relatability, there was something about the two of these characters that had you rooting for them. The spice was there, the flirtiness was there. This was a friends to lovers story, and there was something about like their innocence, but it wasn't immature at all. It was just so, oh my gosh, just everything about their relationship. You just wanted so much more for them. This was so good. And also there's some drama in here, which if you like a drama plot-driven book, I think you will really like this. I will say this is probably one of the most spicy of her reads. Again, I think Emily Henry goes into a little bit more spice, but if you're wanting some more spice, I think out of all of Carley's books, I think this one is the spiciest. And again, the drama is there. Oh man, wait till you hear about this conflict. You have that long distance element too. So Percy lives in the city, but she's pulled back to Barry Bay because of an unexpected phone call that she gets. And she has to go back to see her summer fling Sam. But everything I want in romance, this is probably the most fast-paced romance I've read, in the fact that I did not want to put this down. This was so addicting. Love this so much. But not least, grand finale here. My favorite of all these books has to go to Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This was the most recent book that I read. I didn't say this in the beginning, but I read 3 of these books this week, and Big Beautiful Life was the last of them that I just read. And oh my gosh, I did not want this read to be over. I loved this book so much. So Big Beautiful Life is the newest release from Emily Henry. And I have to admit, when I first heard the synopsis, I was not intrigued. I did not pick this up right away. It was kind of like on the bottom of my list. I'm like, okay, a story about 2 authors writing a biography of this like famous woman. I read Evelyn Hugo. I love that book. But then at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I did love Evelyn Hugo. I think I would like this story. The story sounds right up my alley. And it is so much more than a story about Margaret Ives is the center of the story, but it is so much more. It is everything you want in a romantic relationship, something about the two of these authors together. I just love this book so much. The warm and fuzzies the whole time you're reading this, so good. So this is the story of 2 journalists. Their names are Hayden and Alice. Hayden is that like blunt, cold personality, but he is so funny and with this dry sense of humor that you fall in love with. There's something about Hayden in this book that I love so much. And then Alice is this like extroverted personality that just wants to like pull Hayden out of his shell. So I love the dynamic there. But they find themselves in this interesting predicament because they're both in this cozy town in Georgia to write this biography on this ex-spotlight celebrity, this ex-tabloid celebrity, I should say, Margaret Ives. But it's such a fun ride to find out Margaret's story about why she's living in hiding now. She has all these secrets. And oh my gosh, when the reveal happens, when you find out what her big secret is, you will be blown away. I was not expecting this big reveal. I thought it was just gonna be this heartwarming story about this ex-celebrity who now just like wants to live a life in hiding just because she's over the spotlight. But there is so much more to Margaret in this story. She's so sassy, so funny. You learn a lot about her ancestors, which in a sense, like you think is gonna be a little bit of a dry story, but oh my gosh, every little aspect about her family life is so interesting. But it's not just the story about Margaret. You also have the love story between Hayden and Alice that is so good. The spice is there. Everything you want in a romantic relationship, they're just so good in this story. I loved Alice and Hayden so much. There was something about Hayden's character. Oh, man, I haven't been pulled into a story like this story in such a long time, and it wasn't super plot heavy. Like, it's not fast paced, but you're pulled into the story. There's something about Emily Henry's writing in this story that is so amazing and addictive. Hayden and Alice's relationship is so intriguing. The way she pulls Hayden out of his shell is so fun too. I just love their characters in this story. I loved all the characters in the story. Such a fun read. I love this so much. If you want a good, heartfelt, character-driven story, this is it. So good, so good. 5-star, easy 5-star for me. My new favorite read. I love this. I will continue to recommend this. I am so excited about this book. And I want to tell you guys a secret. I don't know if you guys know this or if all libraries are doing this right now, but I got this book on a free e-reader. Now a lot of libraries are lending out these Kindles with pre-downloaded new releases, and you have unlimited access to all these releases. So you have Freida McFadden's The Crash is on here, James is on here, Great Big Beautiful Life, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, Atmosphere is on here, which I have a physical copy in the mail. That is going to be my next read. So this was such a good find. I was so excited. It was like Christmas Day. I was at the library and I'm walking in and I see Big Beautiful Life on the shelf. And I'm like, by any chance, is that going back on the shelf or is that a hold? And the librarian was like, unfortunately, it was a hold, but would you be interested in renting out a Kindle for 3 weeks? I'm like, yes. So just wanted to let you guys in on that little secret. I don't know if that's available to you guys at your local library. Not even just for loans, but for thrifting out books too. My library's been such a good resource for that. So I got so many good thrifted books at my library. So utilize your local libraries for sure. So let me know what you guys thought of this video. Let me know what you guys think of Carley Fortune and Emily Henry. Who's your favorite of the two? What are your favorite books from them? Did you agree with my rankings? Let me know what your rankings would be. I think that would be fun too if you want to leave in the comments down below what your rankings would be or what your best and worst from each of the authors would be. I think that would be fun and useful to everybody else. But thank you guys for being here. I had so much fun with this video. I hope you guys did as well. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you guys here. This new book endeavor has been so fun. I hope you guys are having fun as well. And thanks again for being here. Thanks for your support and love you guys. You guys are the best. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.